Good morning friends, I am Sangeeta Dhawla going to introduce to you a new topic, the different stages of alcohol dependence and causes of alcoholism. Now, let us get into a practical situation. You board a bus. There are people climbing in and out of the bus, and when someone is getting down the steps or boarding the steps, you feel a peculiar smell given out of that person. What do you think it is? You tell yourself, oh no, this man is drunk, I have to be careful. You become very cautious. Why? You are scared because that person might behave in a different manner. He might do some kind of harm to you. Now, you enter a huge party room. There are so many people who are enjoying the drinks. A few are very well controlled, but a few are going overboard. Those people talk excessively and exhibit some over-friendly kind of a behavior. These are two different contrasting types of behavior that you see when people are drunk. Yes, we will not call these people as drunk people, but we will term them as alcoholics. The main objectives of today's lesson is to understand what alcoholism is, understand what alcoholism dependence is, understand what alcohol addiction is. When you look at it, alcoholism is found to be the most widely prevalent problem in the society today. It has taken the lives of many people, not only the alcoholic but also his wife, his children, his employers and his neighborhood and various other people in the society. Wife because she is not satisfied with his behavior, children because he is not being a good father, the employer because the work is not being accomplished as per the targets, neighborhood because this man comes home drunk, he yells, he shouts and throws and flings things here and there, and there is a lot of disturbance created to the neighborhood, and directly or indirectly he is a huge hindrance or an inconvenience to the public at large. Just imagine, in a country like ours, we can see how many of us would have seen people falling flat on the roads. They are drunk, they are alcoholics who do not have a control over their drinking behavior. Now, it has also broken up many homes and it has separated many couples. They get married, but the wife cannot lead a compatible life with the husband because he comes home always drunk and they are not able to have a successful married life. Alcoholism costs each and every person associated with the alcoholic very dearly. Now, who exactly can be termed as a alcoholic? Let us take a look at that. A person who takes to drinking seriously and he experiences a kind of life impairment if he does not consume alcohol may be considered as an alcoholic. There is a lot of difference that sets in his health, in his occupational functioning and also in the personal relationships like we have discussed just now. There may be these alcohol abuse episodes and these episodes may be frequent or infrequent, but whenever he drinks beyond control, there is definitely bound to be a lot of hindrance for everybody who is associated with the alcoholic. They not only create problems for themselves, but they pose a huge problem to other people. Like as we said, they are a problem to their wife, to the employer, to the children, to the friends and to strangers, and they are the main cause for the automobile accidents too. We have read in newspapers and we keep reading in the newspapers that a drunk driver was responsible for the death of so many children. It may not be the children always, but someone or the other is meeting up with a fatal injury because of the alcoholic behavior of this individual. In the beginning of the lecture, I told you that an alcoholic is dull, he is disturbed and all that, and at the same time I also spoke about a scenario where you get into a party scene and you find that a person is over friendly. Now, aren't you seeing two contrasting behaviors? One, the person is being laid back and dull and lethargic, another, the person is being very over friendly. Now, what do you think alcohol is? Is it a stimulant or a depressant? Many of us feel that alcohol is a stimulant, but that is just a myth. Alcohol is a depressant because it directly attacks and numbs the higher brain centers. And when these higher brain centers are impacted, the rational thinking processes are impaired, the judgment level of the person is reduced, and the self-control the person has also vanishes slowly. When there is no self-control, his primitive behavior slowly sets in, and this alcoholic behavior is considered to act as a catalyst for violence, rape and assault. In the drunken state, the alcoholic loses his sense of discrimination and he loses a sense of motor coordination. But when he is fully drunk condition, he feels on top of the world. There is a sense of great well-being and he has self-esteem that is really high. Do you think that is permanent? No, he remains like that only as long as the effect of alcohol is there on him. Now, going on further, we will now look into the different stages of alcohol dependence. Nobody is a born alcoholic. Someone must have made the beginning. It must be his friend, it must be a social gathering which would have prompted him to take to drinking. I would just like to bring something to notice here. Girls get married to boys who are staying in the US. Now, this girl had a very conventional upbringing back here in India, but when she goes abroad, and that too to the US, she takes to social drinking. Now, was she exposed to that over here? No. Someone introduced her to taking to drinking. Girls drinking in the current society may be considered as a taboo. We are still not so open to accepting girls who can drink freely, but given the scenario in the Western culture, if they do not drink, they are considered as different. In order to gain acceptance from the peers and in order to be a part of the party, they are forced to drinking. So, whether it is a girl or a boy, all you have to get to this habit is just an introduction. And once you are used to the taste of it, there is every chance that you will not lose an opportunity to try it out later, again whenever the circumstance arises. So, the first stage is the pre-alcoholic symptomatic phase. Drinking begins as a part of participation in the social gatherings, and when this person drinks like that, he experiences a certain kind of relief in his tensions. Now, whenever he is tensed because of the previous experience he has had, he will take to alcohol more frequently. This will gradually increase his tolerance levels. As you all know, Once a particular substance has achieved its tolerance level, there is definitely going to be a need for more alcohol in order to get to the inebriated state. So, what does the alcoholic do? He will increase his quota of drink from 2 pegs to 3 pegs, 3 pegs to 4 pegs, and like that he will slowly increase the quantity of his consumption. Next is the prodromal phase. During this stage, there is a sudden onset of blackout. There may be a few signs of intoxication, but the person is still very much capable of taking out his responsibilities and trying to make sensible conversation. But the main characteristic feature of this phase is that this alcoholic does not have any kind of memory associated with the past episode. The third stage is the crucial phase. This phase is characterized by loss of control over drinking. A little consumption of alcohol in the day, he probably will tell himself, no, just a peg, but that little peg is enough to make him drink more and more and more and more to such a stage that he becomes intoxicated and he cannot drink anymore. He takes to drinking in the morning, he takes to drinking in the afternoon, and he stays intoxicated throughout the day. In this stage, he struggles constantly to maintain a semblance between his social standing and employment. Why is he suffering in his employment? Because of this intoxicated state, he is not able to wake up early, he is unable to go to office on time, and he is unable to meet the targets that are set by his employer. Again, when we talk about his social standing, this kind of behavior, do you think will bring it close to his friends? No, it will not. It will further estrange him from his friends. So, his social standing and employment both are jeopardized to no extent. What this person does in the crucial phase is he is always engaged in having stock of different flavors of alcohol beverages, and he tries to hide them away in some place where nobody can find it, and probably if his wife agrees to his drinking, he can drink it in public, but if she does not, he will wait for a moment where he is all alone, and then he will sneak out and drink in full privacy. Next and the last phase is called the chronic phase. As the word suggests, chronic is a very long standing session. Alcohol becomes omnipresent in this alcoholic's life. He is intoxicated during the day, he is intoxicated during the night, you call him up any time, he talks in a highly drunken tone, and he is so drunk, and that reflects to such an extent that you can make out the tremors in his voice, in his appearance, and there are some kind of indefinable fears in his mind. Again, in order to quell down these indefinable fears, he will take to more drinking. The moment he wakes up, the first thing he does is to grope for a glass of wine, glass of alcohol. So, during this stage, he has become a totally very helpless person. He is so obsessed with his drinking that until and unless someone identifies that he has reached an irreparable stage, he will be a gone case. Someone has to take the initiative, put some sense into his mind and tell him that you are digging your own grave. You have to give up on the habit if you want to lead a healthy life later. You have to get him to agree to go in for some kind of a treatment. So, now we have done with all the 4 stages of alcoholism. What do you think is the main cause of alcoholism? Can you make any guesses? Yes. Some researchers stress the role of genetic and biochemical factors. If a father has been an alcoholic, there is a greater chance that the son also may succumb to alcoholism. When genetic and the biochemical factors are considered as one causative factor, there is yet another one which a few other researchers identify the maladaptive pattern of adjustment to stresses of life. These researchers think that it is the stresses that the person is subjected to in the life process that make him take to alcoholism. It is not the person responsible, but it is the life stresses that are responsible for the person to become an alcoholic. Some researchers emphasize that it is the socio-cultural factors that are responsible for the cause of alcoholism. And what are these socio-cultural factors? We have earlier discussed about the partying circles. Yes, alcohol is readily available in social gatherings. It is socially approved to engage in drinking, and probably they do not disapprove of excessive drinking also. So, three main causative factors are identified. First one may be the genetic and the biochemical factors. Second, it could be the maladaptive pattern of adjustment to the stresses of life, and the third one could be because of the socio-cultural factors. All in all, alcohol is because of multiple causes. It is an interaction of the psychological, the biological, the psychosocial and the socio-cultural factors. When do you think a person has fallen prey to alcoholism? There are 5 main conditions identified which will help you decide that a person is on his way to becoming an alcoholic. First and foremost, there is a frequent desire to drink. Even if the person is at work, he feels an urge to reach home as quickly as possible or go to the wine shop as quickly as possible and then drink. His idea now is like, fine, I will finish my work, go take a peg, and he will also ensure that there is adequate supply of alcohol. The second stage or the second feature is that the person increases the quota of his consumption of alcohol. Initially, it may be in 1 or 2 pegs, but with the passage of time, he will increase this quota to a significant quantity month after month. He exhibits extreme behaviors and later on he feels guilty about his behavior the next day. We have heard of so many cases where the wife got beaten up by the husband during the night, but once the intoxication subsides, the next day he is the most adorable husband one can ever find on the earth. This person, he regrets having behaved like that with his wife. He pampers her to no extent, but at the same time he is becoming highly helpless with his alcohol drinking behavior. Then there are pulling blanks. In this stage, he cannot remember at all what has happened during his alcohol bout. Yes, this pulling blanks are something each one of us must have heard about. We also must have commented at some point in time or the other, he is speaking like this now and tomorrow he does not remember anything of this. When talking about pulling blanks, we also see this technique that people adopt in order to bring out the truth from the person. They invite him for a peg of drink, slowly drag him into 3rd and 4th pegs, and they try to bring out the truth from him. The next day, the person does not know what he has confessed or what he has spoken. There are these kinds of pulling blanks. Another warning sign of approaching alcoholism is that the person begins his day with drinking, breakfast drinking, 11 o'clock drinking, lunch drinking, and it is drink, drink and drink throughout the day. He drinks so as to reduce the hangover effect, he drinks so as to reduce the tension, he drinks so as to reduce the stress he is experiencing from various walks of life.